Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. We're so excited to have our special guest speaker here, Pauline Meert, who will discuss discerning education as a family with us today. Right now, everyone is muted. During the last 5 to 10 minutes of this session, I will unmute everyone and you'll have the opportunity to ask Pauline a question if you desire. Um, but thank you so much, Pauline, for being here. I'm going to turn off my video. Pauline's going to leave on hers, and I'll turn mine back on during our question time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for welcoming me as a panelist and as a guest. So, for those of you who heard about this webinar through Agapè Catholic Ministries, you might recognize my last name. So, I am Christian Christine's daughter. I'm number four of five girls, and I am the co-founder and director of Sophia Montessori Academy in Denver. We're an independent Catholic school founded in the Byzantine Catholic tradition, and we opened, it'll be 6 years on February 12th. So, so we've been around for a little while, and I'm just really honored to be able to chat with all of you. I've been involved in education since I was about 18 years old. I did my Montessori training, yeah, when I was 18, and started working in a variety of roles. So at first as an aide, and then as a lead teacher, um, and then founding a school. So I pretty much by 19, a year into Montessori, I was like, no, this Montessori thing, it feels really Catholic. I want to start my own school. And then 10 years later, God sent a lot of graces and a lot of amazing people my way, and my dream was able to come true. So that's been just such an amazing journey. And I'm hoping today to share a little bit about some of the things I've learned in this journey, it's particularly what I see families asking for and searching for. And I have a couple tips that I hope can help you in your journey. Um, I'm trying to think what else to share about me, but I think having a mom and dad who've done a lot with in the business world of sharing the gospel in their own way, it was very easy to kind of come into this role for me. Um, yeah, so I think it's really interesting. One of my big missions in life is to encourage families to not wait until your child is 3, 4, or 5 to decide on what you want to do school wise. I think that's happened a few times for on my end where someone will reach out and be like, oh, my child just turned 3, I'm hoping to find school for next month or next school year. And I'm like, ooh, I want to say yes, but very often schools tend to have a long wait list, or tend to, and then you don't necessarily get exactly the education that you're looking for. So I think one of my biggest word for today is be prepared. So take action now, even if your children aren't born yet, or you're just dating, or newly married, or even if your children are a little bit grown, that's okay too. But do try to take some of these steps that I want to share with you. So I think the first thing I want to encourage families to do, couples particularly, is to talk about your own education journey. I think all of us have a lot of joy and fond memories when we look back on our school years, excuse me. But we sometimes also have wounds and deep hurts that have come up, and that's such a bummer. But those are things that are really important to talk about, and to talk about, like, what did you enjoy in school, what did you not enjoy, and as a family, do you want the same experience for your children, or do you want something different? Do you want something new? So I think, yeah, just making sure to have that conversation, and then let that conversation lead into your values and your priorities. How are you planning to live that vocation, as Christian Catholic parents? What are your hopes and dreams for yourselves, as husband and wife, and also for your children? Um, so yeah, and so I think once you kind of have a vision of, like, oh, this is, I really want, there was this one teacher, she really made a difference in my life, and I want to find something similar to that, or there's this experience and I hope my children never have to experience it, you know. That can kind of get you going into what are the options available. Do you want to go the public school route? Do you want to go the private school route? Do you want to homeschool? There are so many ways to approach education, which is such a gift. It really truly is, of just being able to have a lot of freedom and a lot of choices, which not every country has. One of my sisters homeschools in France, and it's becoming harder and harder, if not close to impossible, to be able to have the freedom to homeschool. Um, so once you kind of lean towards, do we want to just lean towards homeschooling? Do we want to lean towards public school? Do we want to lean towards private school? Each one's going to bring up a lot of options. For example, with public school, what's being taught in public schools? That's going to be the biggest question. There's the benefit of free education, which obviously is a huge gift, but what are the costs associated with that gift? I think as Catholics, it becomes harder and harder to go that route. But learn about the public schools nearby. Go and visit, ask questions. Be involved in the educational politics, as much as you're able to. Um, and then when it comes, and even with public schools, you'll have a lot of different options. You might have Montessori schools, you might have STEM education, and all these big buzzwords are going to start coming up as you dig into this journey. With private schools, same thing. You might have faith-based, you might have play-based, you might have, Montessori again, you may have classical and STEM and um, expeditionary and like what are all these big words? So start to dig into what each of these are and don't let them be buzzwords. So what does classical education mean? What does Montessori education mean? um, I could go into each quite a bit, but I'm also happy to chat with anybody who wants to afterwards. Just contact me and we can have a further discussion. But I'll touch a little bit on these various options that are available. So, classical education really, from my understanding, and that's not my expertise. I'm very much continuing to learn more and more about it. You're going to really get content that is very rich, that is not politically driven, but more really back to our roots as Catholics, and content that is human, right? And digging into philosophy and things like that. When for our school, for example, Sophia Montessori, we're a Montessori school, and back when I was 18, 19, I didn't fully grasp the depth and beauty of Montessori education. I started to, but it is a very Catholic approach. Montessori herself being Catholic, you can really see how her understanding of the human person um, guided her understanding of how to teach children. She didn't set out to change education. She was kind of put into this position of working with young children at the time who were with special needs. And unfortunately, at the time, they were labeled as idiot children and put in a bare room by themselves. And she was put in charge of supporting these children. And through her observations, she was really able to see their need for hands-on activity. So I could go on and on about Montessori. So I'll try to keep it short. That is much more my expertise. But you can really see in a Montessori classroom the dignity of each child being respected and the content being rich as well, uh, while offering different tools. So a lot of hands-on materials and mixed age groups, so 3 to 6 year olds being together, 6 to 9, so first through third graders being together, and really creating that community. Um, and then with STEM education, there's going to be a different focus there with the science, technology, and all of that. So I think being able to start to research these terms is going to be really helpful. Some others you might hear would be like Waldorf education or Reggio Emilia or unschooling. So again, making sure to take the time to dig into what do these terms mean? What does that look like? Um, and then do once you've done a little bit of that research, also check into like what does the church teach? What does the church offer us? Um, Catholic education has a long and incredible and very beautiful and rich history. and not always perfect. But being able to see how have things been done in the past and what resonates with us as a family. Do we want a more traditional approach of, from for 45 minutes we're all going to do the same thing, and there's that clear hierarchy of student and teacher, or are you looking for something a little more relaxed where the teacher is more on the children's level and in the sense of sitting with them and having more one-on-one time? And again, that's going to be up to you to decide and to explore. And then, yeah, sorry. So all of these thoughts, there's so much to think about um, and express just in with all of these, key terms that I'm even just throwing at you. Um, a big thing I would say is try not to play the comparing game. I think that's an easy temptation for any of us, being human. But just because your neighbor homeschools, it doesn't mean that that's the calling for you. Or just because your other neighbors sends their children to public school, maybe you do want to homeschool. So just give yourself that freedom to, yeah, to really embrace where you feel your heart calling you to. Um, and and see where that the Holy Spirit is speaking in your specific family and what your goals are. So then after you've done a little bit of research, start contacting schools. Ask them big questions. And I love that. I love receiving questions from people that I don't know of, just and I love the variety of questions that people ask, and being able to get a hint, to get a small view into what their family life is like and what they desire for their family and for their children. So that's really beautiful. Some of the big questions I would highly recommend asking, one of the big ones is, what is your view on the dignity of the person? Unfortunately, some schools are, not really taking the time to have respect for the dignity of the child. They might be like, no, we got to get those test scores in. And I'm praying, and from what I hear, that's not as much as what it maybe used to be. So hopefully people are kind of leaning away from that. But how is the human person respected? And not just the children, but also you, the parents, as the primary educators. Is this a school that's going to support you in your vocation? Or is this a school that's going to step all over you and teach things that are contrary to what you're teaching at home or to what the church teaches? What is their approach to discipline? Discipline can be a big, scary word. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. What does discipline mean in that specific school, in their specific approach? Does it mean, rewards and punishment? Does it mean redirection? Does it mean positive discipline? There are just so many ways that discipline can be understood, and also do the research on what does the church teach us is true discipline. It's important to know that even the church says that discipline fits in with freedom, right? And freedom, it doesn't mean doing whatever you want. It means doing what is good, true, and beautiful within boundaries, and within that relationship with Christ, and being able to allow that to lead us to being disciplined. So doing that research there, and what's their take on virtue? What's their take on homework and testing? I remember my little sister. She had in third grade, she had 3 hours of homework every night. And my mom was like, that doesn't fit with our lifestyle. That doesn't fit with our mission and vision as a family. We want to be able to enjoy time with each other at the end of the school day. And so we went the homeschooling route for my little sister for that time, and just how God really blessed that time. And um, so I think that's a very important question to ask a school of what is the approach towards homework and testing. What is the staff culture like? Who are the people that you're entrusting your children to? How are they going to talk to your children? How are they going to talk with you? Are they here to collaborate, or are they just so busy and drained that they might wave at you, once in a while and hopefully see you for conferences, maybe once a year, maybe twice, but ask those questions. What are the class sizes like? What is the possibility for support for children who might need extra support in different areas, be it um, academic, be it behavioral? What's the support there? Ask about things that are important to you, art and music, learning about other cultures, doing work in the community, those kinds of things. And ask about politics. What are the politics of the school? What is the focus on the human person, and is the focus on church teachings, or is the focus on whatever's going on in the political world? And that new set of what we could almost call it, a state religion. And again, back to, ask those questions too about how are you going to partner with me? How are you going to help me be the best mother that I can be, or the best father that I can be? Um, and then ask about, what are your events? What is your school community life like? And is it where there's an event every single night and we don't get to be home? That's unlikely, but ask those questions. Or is it, we have events throughout here and there to be able to build community, and see what matches with your goal and your vision. And then tour and observe in those schools. Take the time to see it in action. Take the time to meet with the director, the principal, one of the teachers, a parent, whoever is available, and have those conversations with them of like, what is it like? I see the website has a great video, or the website, says all these things, but how is it put into practice? Um, and in my experience, most schools will be more than happy to have you come and tour or observe and visit for a little while. That's one of my favorite things is I love giving tours to families and getting to chat with them and again discover who they are and what their goals and hopes and dreams for their family are. Um, and then go to their events. We've been really blessed with some families who've come to our tours and then joined us for our school gala, or have come to different events that we've hosted, and that's been such a huge blessing. And I've really admired that in these new families of being able to. I can really tell that they're taking this very seriously. They're really invested to know like, are you the right place for us? And if you are, great, let's keep going on this path. And if not, that's okay too. Being able to have that respect and that honoring of the dignity of the parents and that vocation. Um, and again, I said this a little bit earlier, but don't wait. Don't wait. I think, take the time to observe, take the time to learn, and and sign up, because I think one thing that breaks my heart is when families are not able to have the experience that they're specifically looking for. I don't want a family to find a school that they love and then I'm sorry, we're full for the next 3 years, anything like that. Um, yeah, so I think that's kind of just my little soapbox that I was really excited to get on and chat with you about, of the beauty of this role as parents, as primary educators, and what you can do together um, to to decide this, because education it's a big thing. There so much happens in these early years that help to form and guide the children to their God-given full potential. Um, and it's a big responsibility for parents. You're entrusted these beautiful souls to guide them towards heaven, and that's just no small task. And just like for the teacher, it's also no small task. We don't want to lead any of these young ones astray. We don't want to have a millstone thrown. I'm misquoting my Bible, but don't mind me. But just being able to see the gravitas that comes with the role of parents and of teachers, and the beauty of it when parents are also the teachers. I mean, no matter what, you're always going to be the primary teacher, but if you choose to homeschool, and again, gosh, with homeschooling, there are so many different ways you can go about it. But just know that there are a lot of resources online, but there are also a lot of people who are there with you. You're not alone. Um, Obviously start with the two of you as a couple to see what your vision is, and then bring people in. Bring people in, families that you trust, that you've seen. Chat with the family next door who homeschool. Chat with the family next door who goes to a public school or a private school, and ask them about their experience and all of that. And again, connect with this with schools to kind of see. And if you are choosing to homeschool, I would still recommend checking out a school or two just to get ideas and just to kind of see what to really have that well-rounded view. And just like I would say the same if someone is wanting to to enter into a Montessori school, for example, make sure you also see what other schools are like so that you have that full picture and that full idea of what really truly makes the most sense for you. So yeah, I think that's pretty much my little spiel. Feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to uh, to talk with you one on one, to schedule a call, to offer any advice I might have if I can. Um, yeah, and I can be reached at info@sophiamontessori.com or on our website, sophiamontessori.com, which is SophiaMontessori.com. And again, such a joy to be here with you.
Well, thank you so much, Pauline. That was really helpful, and thank you for sharing your contact information as well, because I'm sure you will have many people reaching out. I'm going to unmute everyone now, so if you want to ask Pauline a question, you most certainly can. Or Pauline, feel free to also pull from our questionnaire. Let
Okay,
me do it
sounds
here.
good. And I'm not seeing any questions popping up just yet, but yeah, happy to chat.
All right, so everyone, if you do want to ask a question, you will have to press the microphone on your end. Okay, Pauline, go ahead and pull a question from the registration list, and so people have the time to find the
Oh yeah,
microphone.
yeah, absolutely. I forgot to pull that up. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no,
Let me
you're
find
fine.
it. Yeah. Oh goodness.
I can probably pull a question.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Yeah.
No questions. Just want to observe. That's great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Um, Mostly, there's a lot of people who just wanted to observe. So maybe you didn't get a whole bunch of questions in the questionnaire, which is great. So this is exactly what today's session was for, is so that they could get some better
Oh,
insight.
I did find one.
Great.
Um, oh, this is actually very kind. Someone who says, been extremely interested in Sophia Montessori, also a Catholic Montessorian, and just fascinated. Well, awesome. Thank you. Please
Yeah.
don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to chat with you. Um,
Perfect.
yeah, and just yeah, I think it's just really good that to see families asking these questions and looking forward
Absolutely.
to yeah, to take that time to really discern. Um, oh, here's a good one. Interested to hear perspective discussion around different styles of learning for a faithful family, styles that allow good formation, but also opportunity to make disciples, like we're called to do instead of placing our family in a bubble. I love that. I think that is just really a helpful way to put it because I think it can be very easy for us to say, oh, we just are going to do what our parents did. And our parents did everything they could, and I'm sure they did great. Um, but it's okay to question. It's okay to think of, can it be a different way? Can can learning happen in a joyful way where you keep your love of learning for your whole life and not just for
Right.
preschool,
Exactly.
so yeah, so I hope that's helpful. And let me know
Well,
if you see
very
any more
good.
that maybe I missed.
No,
But
no, that's perfect. And today's session was recorded, so the attendees will get it as well. But thank you so much, Pauline, for your time and
and
sharing
thank you,
your
Ashley.
insight. Yeah, this was wonderful and very helpful, especially for me. I don't have any kids right now, but now I know to start looking. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, just
great.
learn. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that is perfect. So thank you all for joining us today. And again, if you want to reach Pauline, you can contact her on her school website and the information she shared with us today. So thank you, and thanks for joining us, Pauline. We really appreciate it.
absolutely. Thank you all, and God bless. I hope you find exactly what works best for you and your family.
Exactly. Thanks. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye bye.